All right, Abercrombie. Time for you to earn your pay.
I've been meaning to speak to you about that. I'm in grave danger of being murdered once we get inside here.
You'll need it even more if you don't hurry. I'm likely to murder you here and now.
You may applaud if you wish.
We don't.
I believe the route we have to take is through the main working area. Right, it seems deserted. Come on! Right, over here. See these scratches by this lane?
There's probably a release catch somewhere on the base that prevents it from moving accidentally.
Just give it a moment. I think that's it. Shall we?
Will you step into my parlour?
What other choice do we have? I'll go first.
I'll just wait here. A rear guard if you like.
You better guard your rear if you don't come on. Else I'll deliver a swift kick up it.
We must be below sea level now. It should open just here.
Good evening, gentlemen. I fear you're a trifle late for the daily guided tour, but please, do come inside. Almost midnight already. Dear me, if you'd simply made an appointment earlier with my secretary, all of this tedious waiting could have been avoided.
I shall remember that the next time I plan a secret mission to stop the grandiose schemes of a deluded megalomaniac. No offense meant.
And none taken, Dr. Smith.
Doctor who?
I think you've kept me up quite late enough as it is. Should we get this over with so that I can get a little rest? I have a busy day ahead of me tomorrow, you know. You really can't imagine how hard it is to run a factory.
You scoundrel! Do you expect us to sympathize with you?
No, Doctor. I expect you to die. Then I expect the little fishes outside will have a feast. Beyond that, I couldn't care less what you do.
Excuse me. Could I ask for a teensy little favour first?
Really, Doctor? You do try my patience, you know. I do so hate late nights. Early to bed, early to rise, and all that.
Oh, I always preferred Thurber myself. Early to rise and early to bed makes a man healthy, wealthy, and dead.
You're about to prove the truth of that saying. Now, what is this favour of yours?
It's a failing of mine, but I'd really hate to be killed without knowing exactly why I'm being murdered. I mean, I can see that you're a busy man, things to do, worlds to conquer, infinitives to split, and all that. But could you spare just a little time to enlighten me on a few points?
Suppose I do owe you that, at the very least. Very well. I'll illuminate you concerning my plans. Then my guards here will kill you. Happier now?
Absolutely ecstatic. So, what's all this about, Alfie?
I'm sorry?
This whole scheme. Hiding in slimy little tunnels, killing poor innocent fishermen, snatching bodies, breeding dogs that Crufts wouldn't even think of giving a blue ribbon to. That sort of thing.
Progress, Doctor. Progress. This is the wave of the future.
Really? Humanity is going to start living in leaky subterranean tunnels? Doesn't sound like much of a future to me.
Mock me if you choose, but remember who holds the power here. Really, Dr. Smith. How could you ally yourself with such a crass individual?
Necessity makes for strange bedfellows. Now, what was it you said about progress?
Come with me, Doctor. I'll show you more wonders than any man has ever imagined. Watch them all. If any of them makes a false move, shoot him. Otherwise, don't harm them until I'm finished. Gentlemen, if you'd care to follow me.
I think I speak for all of us when I say we're a captive audience. Lead on, Macduff.
I promise you that this will be swift and painless as I can manage. I have no desire to hurt you.
Well, I've got plenty of desire to hurt you.
Ah! My hand!
What a wimp! You don't care how much pain and misery you've inflicted on others, do you? But break one little bone in your hand and you start blubbering like a baby.
You'll pay for that. Oh, you'll pay.
Oh, it'll be worth it. Come on, I'm not going anywhere, am I? Almost as easy as kidnapping helpless children, isn't it?
I've got to get this thing too.
Oh, just stick it in your healing jelly. That should do the trick. As long as there's nothing else in there, of course. You didn't swat a fly, did you? Maybe you'll grow compound eyes, if there's a fly in your ointment. Doctor! Am I glad to see you?
This isn't a rescue, I'm afraid, Miss Smith.
It's not even a party. I forgot to bring the cake. Ah, you must be the mad scientist, I take it.
Sorry, I'm afraid I broke his hand. Careless of me, I know.
Very.
Percival, you've certainly disgraced the family name.
Percival? This whole scheme was dreamed up by a man named Percival? Oh, that's too dreadful for words. Ah, so that's what's behind all this. Root and healing salve. The store brand, too, by the stench of it. Cherry, my favorite flavor.
Don't you know what that can do to you?
It won't affect me.
It affects any human being.
Precisely. Ah, hello, little fellow. Lost your mummy.
Doctor, what in the blazes is going on here? Do you really know what that stuff is?
Yes. The problem is that the salve works on the basis of reforming the amorphous cells. When it comes into contact with some non-rumen tissue, it causes genetic fusion.
Which we witnessed in the Hound Boy and the mermaids.
And these rutans are of otherworldly origin?
Very. Do you find that rather incredible?
No, the institute which I work for does bring me into contact with certain otherworldly aspects of the world. Doctor, am I to take it that you are another... Wait a minute!
This is all getting far too preposterous for me.
I don't get it. I can see what Frankenstein hopeful here gets out of all of this. He's just wild about breeding his own life forms, like the poor kid in that bottle over there. But what's in it for you? Just the pleasure of hurting little kids, robbing graves, and killing people?
Miss Smith, you do me a grave injustice. I'm not some mindlessly sadistic monster. Surely that's obvious.
What is obvious is that you are a depraved human being who has no thought for the consequences of his actions.
Very well. No thought for the consequences of my actions, indeed. Well, I'll show you just how wrong you are.
Breckenridge, he's taunting you. He does this all the time. Kill him now. Better yet, let me kill him.
The beauty of brotherly love.
How much of a fool do you think I am? I know what he's trying to do. And if you want to murder him, you can be my guest. But not until after he's seen what I am creating here. Not having him die thinking I'm a savage.
Oi! What about me?
Ross, get her down from there. I wanted to see this as well.
I don't trust her. She's already broken my hand.
And I'll break the other one for you, if you don't do as you're told.
Oh, much appreciated, Percival.
And lest you think that my decision to allow you to join us shows evidence of any favour in your direction, or weakness on my part, think again, please.
Oh!
There was no need for that.
On the contrary. Or would you prefer someone shot so that you understand the situation here? Let's be moving out of here. Ross? Dr. Ross? Lead the way to the viewing room. Doctor, I'm sure Miss Smith informed you that the ocean is something of a passion of mine.
It's nice to see that you have a few innocent passions.
Oh, I have lots of them, though you may not believe it.
You're right. I don't.
Dear Lord!
Those are the children that you've mutilated.
Mutilated? They're magnificent. They can stay out there indefinitely, harvesting the sea. And they're viable. The nucleus of a brand new race. I assure you, they are not ill-treated.
They're slaves. That's why you need guards to prevent revolt. But I'd command them to revolt. Revolt if there's any humanity left in them.
They're useful for the first time in their miserable little lives. Doctor, every one of those children out there was doomed to die if they stayed here on the land. They're all from the docks and wharves and gutters. Parasites, scavengers and worse. Now, thanks to Ross and myself, they have useful, productive lives.
Not all of them. One of them is a boy named Anders, from the same school as Kipling. He's got parents that care for him. He wouldn't have been a parasite.
True, but he stumbled across us one night when certain supplies were being delivered. It was either change him or kill him. Can't you see that those children are better out there than they would be if this asinine government of ours had their way? All this talk of educating the street brats. What a waste. They don't have the minds or the imaginations to take advantage of an education. And who would pay for their waste of time? Businessmen like myself, that's who. Well, out there is my response to the unwanted children. We can transform them, put them to useful work, to extend man's dominion.
To enslave them. That's the real reason, isn't it? That's pathetic. A sham. That wheel of light of yours has no real point.
It has its reasons, Doctor. I'm training those children because, as you rightly observe, they will have to work to repay me for all I've done for them. I foresee a future, Doctor, where the world is linked by communication. The telegraph is outmoded, and the telephone is just beginning. See a day when pictures as well as words can be transmitted through such cables. And he who has the network in place will be the master of this new world.
So that's it. Those children are being trained to work so they can lay your cables.
Precisely. Do you have any idea how expensive it is to lay cables from ships? And if one breaks, there's no way to repair it. You have to start over again, laying a new seabed cable. But with my race of merfolk out there, those problems cease. They can lay the cables and even repair them if needed, at any depths. They're the perfect workers, and they will help me to become the leader in a new world order.
I pity you, you know. Ross is doing his filthy work as a perversion of science, at least. But you are doing it simply to make more money.
It's your money that bastardizes everything that we hold holy and just.
Please don't argue. After all, you seem to forget who is in charge here. It is I, not you. The future belongs to me.
You're wrong. You don't have a future. I know, because I'm from it.
What? You expect me to believe that? You're just trying to...
Believe it. I'm not due to be born for over 60 years yet. I'm from that future you're talking about. And I can tell you that you are nowhere mentioned. Everything you've talked about is there, and more. But there's no genius named Breckenridge anywhere in it. In fact, that snotty child you've captured is going to become far more famous than you could ever be.
He will be known and I won't.
Yes. So believe me, you may think you're winning, but you're doomed. Your insane plan can't succeed because I'm from the future where it hasn't succeeded.
Then Ross, take Kipling there to your laboratory now and give him a dose of the salve. Let's see if he can still become a great writer when he has to spend the rest of his life underwater. His paper is liable to get a trifle damp, I fear.
You can't change history.
If you change one brick, the wall of recorded human history will tumble down.
Then do it, Ross.
Ross, now would be a good time to use that stick.
Indeed.
Stop him!
Try to change history with this.
Dear God! The pressure outside!
I'm sorry, Percival.
Oh, you've really got to stop this habit of killing, Ross. Sarah, grab Kipling and run.
After them! Somebody grab them! No, you pathetic mongrels! What are you doing? I'm your master! Me!
Keep moving. It's liable to flood.
Doctor!
Thank God we got here in time.
Indubitably. Is it over?
No, it's far from over. The factory is liable to flood. To Fulbright Hall.
Father says that the underground passageways have flooded. They've found the bodies of Breckenridge and Ross's brother in the water there. The Colonel has finally explained everything to my father. If only he'd told us some of this earlier.
What did your father say when Ross told him he'd been the chief suspect?
He was about ready to challenge him to a duel. Then he saw the funny side of things, and they're getting along rather well.
He's a little like the Doctor in some ways, you know.
Quite. I've been meaning to ask you, where is he this morning?
He's gone to fetch the TARDIS.
The TARDIS. Is that your carriage?
Something like that. Oi! How are you feeling?
Like I've got a hangover. Missed out on all the fun, I gather.
You were almost part of it. Breckenridge had a change of mind and body for you. Luckily, it didn't come about. You recall anything about last night?
After the graveyard. All I know is that I dreamed of wolves howling all about me. Odd. Oh well, will you be going now?
Soon.
Pity. It's been fun though. I won't forget you, Sarah Jane Smith.
Nor I, you, Rudyard Kipling. You're going to make lots of people very proud of you.
School's going to be all ruddy dull after this.
Are you really from the future? The others were talking and...
Yes, I am.
Then you know what becomes of us all?
Not all. Just a few of you. The ones I happen to have heard about for one reason or another.
Oh. The fishing fleet's coming back.
I think that's my cab arriving.
Right, time to finish things. Come along, Sarah, don't dawdle.
Ah, Doctor, glad you're back.
So am I. Ross, I assume the main problem left is the children.
Yes, we've agreed that everything else can be kept quiet. There's certainly no need for any of this to come out. The salve is destroyed, I hope?
Oh, I believe so. It doesn't mix too well with salt water. Even if it's not gone, it's so diluted now as to be useless.
Splendid, but the children are a distinct problem.
Can't we just leave them alone? They didn't ask for this, and they're harmless, surely.
No, I'm afraid not.
The human race isn't ready to share the world with another species. They can't stay here. There are always people who wouldn't rest until they were destroyed, or worse. I've a friend called the Brigadier who's a bit like that. He means well, but sometimes jumps the wrong way. One of your failings.
Possibly. But this is a real problem. And unless you have a better solution, I'm going to have those mer beings hunted down and killed.
What you propose is nothing short of murder.
Don't you think I know that?
Those creatures are, as you say, children, and I can't condone your solution. I propose instead that I remove them from this planet and take them to another where they can set up their own society in peace.
Do you think they'll agree to this?
Given their options, how can they refuse?
Well, Doctor, I wish you luck. As soon as everything is tidied up here, I'll be returning to London. Must report back to, my employer.
Yes, I was meaning to ask about that.
Another time, perhaps. My matters of business are still confidential.
Well, Captain Grey sails within the hour. I'm sorry to miss out on the last bit, but I think I've done as much as I can.
You've been a marvelous help, and I'm sure you'll have no problem with the writing. I'm sure you'll be meeting someone soon. Take care, Doyle. I'd hate to think they'd reopen the tower just for you.
These mermaids, can they still speak English?
I doubt it. Fortunately, I speak Dolphin fluently.
Is he joking?
Haven't the faintest idea. Well, I guess it's time to say goodbye. Take care, Alice. It's been fun.
Are you coming, Sarah?
Coming!
You have been listening to Doctor Who Evolution by John Peel, adapted by Jacob Licklider. The Doctor was played by Brian Corrigan, Sarah Jane Smith, Aaliyah E. Torrey, Arthur Conan Doyle, Noah Whitner, Edmund Ross, Zach Rosenfeld, Rudyard Kipling, Antonio Alvarez, Edward Fulbright, Joey Morgan, Roger Bridewell, Samantha Foreman, Alice Fulbright, Kai Clayton, Percival Ross, Alex Baxter Scott, Tobias Breckenridge, Michael Gibbons, Abercrombie, Lewis Kennedy, Alexander Cromwell, Nathan Beattie, L.C. Dunsterville, Mason Peters, George Beresford, Oliver, Bernard Faversham, Marcus Cotton, Billy, Harry Gosling, Ben Tolliver, Ian Arney, Brackley, John Foreman, Jack Kinney, Joshua Duffy, Jack Lamb, Jonathan Clark. Other parts were played by members of the cast. Directed by Joey Morgan and Jacob Licklider. Producer, Joey Morgan. Script editor, Joey Morgan. Sound design, Joey Morgan. Music by Antonio Alvarez. Cover art by Alistair Pearson and Joanna Davies. Doctor Who Evolution is a fan-made, non-profit production and is in no way affiliated with the BBC, Big Finish Productions, or the Doctor Who license.